taking us through, you know, the online processes and so on. I think he was taking us through, but we have a long learning, some of us have a long learning curve, and I think Andrew should not get tired of it. We're still struggling. That's the main purpose anyway. Not only me, I think one of the things you'll notice, and I think Andrew, you shouldn't tired of it, is that a lot of extension is especially field and semi-field. We are, I think, issues of you know, e-learning, all those things, virtual. It's still it's something we have to push very hard, especially on capacities. And probably, I think as you noted also, maybe the issues of appropriate content, which can stimulate them to join in, I think is very key. Yeah, so I think with those words, I think, I don't know whether, is Max on or he's not using it?
Yeah, he's there.
He's on.
Okay. And Samson as well. Samson told me he's online anyway, so I think he's okay there. Who else is there? I don't know. I see. I don't see. Well, I don't know where I can see others.
Click on participants.
Kate is also there.
Yeah,
okay.
Click on participants. You will see that people were there.
Okay. Where is the
down? Yeah.
Oh, okay. 28. That's quite a big number now. Okay. So, okay, let me welcome all of you. I can see a lot of people who are here from all over the place. I can't go through all of you. And I don't know, I'm sure a lot of you are on lockdown now, like us. And it's unfortunate, but I think that's the best thing we can do. We can probably start with the messages on coronavirus. Is a lot of hand washing if you move around. If you don't move around, you still get used to hand washing. When you get out, you step in with the hand washing. If somebody sneezes, whether it is in your home, you get a bit perplexed. But I think that's appropriate. That's awareness raising. And also to thank Andrew, at least he has started something online on awareness raising on COVID-19, which is very important. And I think all of us, let's stay safe, and so that, you know, we continue with our various activities very safely. Well, I think this is probably a series of one of those meetings that, and I think we'll perfect it as we move along, which will involve a lot of people. And managing it, I think we can take this as partly is a test case on how to manage virtual meetings, but also to see what kind of content can be generated and shared within the short time span that it usually takes. And I think later on, maybe Andrew can start gathering lessons from these meetings and all the other participants to see how best we can maximize on time available, but also the resources, you know, internet costs money and so on. And we are in various points and so on. And internet availability at times is a problem. So I think Andrew we can start this meeting probably as a test case and see how far we can go with it, and then join in later probably in a more, we keep on refining it so that it becomes the usual way of meeting, which is probably should be the way to do it anyway. But also I can say within AFAAS itself, I think the board has allowed us, I think you are now aware that Andrew himself is working for AFAAS. He's in Madagascar, we are in Uganda, various points in Uganda, not even in the office. Nesta is in Cameroon, Samson is in Ethiopia. So basically, this is the way we have been working anyway. But to have a lot more participants in this, I think it's an achievement, and to me, it's probably the way we should do it. Now, going on the meeting itself, I don't know how far we can go into the agenda which Andrew has proposed. Maybe we can take it piecemeal within the next few days, and we concentrate on basically providing updates on what we have in terms of programs and activities. I think Max will highlight that more in depth, but also probably do a little recall on the AFAAS Extension Week, which was very successful. Again, to thank the group in Anada and all those organizers, the local organizing team, the continental organizing team, who did a very good job, and more specifically, probably Max, Patrice, and those who participate, Andre, yeah, and I remember the ones who are from Canada. And we also recall that in this, for the first time, I think self-sponsorship was probably 90% of the meeting. So that was a great achievement. But I think there has been a lot of proposals on how we can repackage the extension week to make it more appealing and more sustained. And I think we started discussing with Samson, and I saw Patrice also has at a certain point. Maybe we can take up that later, but I think that's probably one agenda of what kind of extension are we going to have? Probably in light of, first of all, in light of the internet age, the virtual age, and the connectivity. But now you have seen the pandemic, which is also there, and the COVID. So we have to start thinking, they call it mega thoughts. What are the mega trends, and how will it affect extension as we move on? So these are some of the things we have to start thinking about and see how we can position ourselves so that we can be ready when the time comes. At a certain time, this is how extension will be, and so on and so forth. I think also Christine, I think, mentioned it. Maybe Christine can help us along those in this kind of thing as well. So with those, I think we can go in a little more depth. I think Andre and Max developed some agenda items and some topics of documentation, which can be shared as we move on. Again, let me welcome you and thank you all for being there. So let me hand over to Andre to facilitate and others to give in input. So Andre, please, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Edie. I'm just facilitating the technical aspect. I think the main moderator for this meeting is Max. Yeah. So handing over to you, Max. Are you there?
Yes, I am here, Andre, very well.
Yes.
I think, yes, as already highlighted by Edie, we should start with the purpose of this meeting, which is mainly to, first of all, get us again together as a network, AFAAS network, but also have a feeling of each other amidst the COVID-19 challenge, which of course we also need to take it as an opportunity to improve on our ways of operations, how we do business in extension in a different way, but also refocusing our attention to the global emergencies, global issues that come along of this nature. So this means we kind of need to hasten our capacity to be responsive enough to deal with the issues that will come our way as we deliver extension. So the agenda is quite short. We shall deal with the introduction has been done. What we want to do now, Andre, can you project the agenda quickly so that we go through it within 1 minute, then we progress.
Yeah, so now, I'm trying to open quickly. The next agenda is presenting the projects, the planned project at AFAAS. So let me just show this. Okay, this is what I have.
Okay, so this is the draft agenda we had. We made some few changes though. But what we want to do in this meeting, the main thing is to update the stakeholders on where are we as AFAAS, then also to try to hear from you and say, yes, we are here, especially the country for teams. Then we kind of deal with the reflection and see how we move forward. But also one of the most important things is for us to be able to get what tools can we be able to use maximally at this period of time and also beyond. Of course, we've been doing the webinars, we've been doing the Zoom with the new extension, learning kit. We've been also doing with the Korea, the Kafasi. So some of us are already conversant with this, but we need to build our capacity together. So Andre will be taking us through the kind of tools that we shall use now, but also progressively as a network to make sure we deliver our mandate. Then Samson will take us in the reflection. That will be more of a sharing, and Katie has a message to specifically the country fora. That will be the target country fora that will be working with AFAAS in terms of the current projects. Of course, we shall be working with everyone, all the country fora, but there will be their projects that are targeted to some specific country fora based on the donors and the design documents that we have. So with this, let me try to highlight quickly the
It's back on.
Yes, let me do I want to share yes.
Okay.
I want to.
Yeah, we can see your screen now.
You can see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to change the place because of the light.
No, but we are seeing well.
So what I'm going to do is briefly run through just reminders of a strategic plan. Then, as already Edie has mentioned, the 219 at a glance at the AFAAS perspective. Then we mentioned briefly about the current main projects that we have and perhaps a few other things. So for new members, it's also important that as we're operating AFAAS as a strategic plan, which are 3 pillars. The first pillar is strengthening and expanding network and knowledge management capacities. Again, this arises from the previous strategic plan, which had 5 pillars, and knowledge management has remained very key, but also with the capacities. Then the second pillar for AFAAS strategic plan is more on building capacities for scaling out technologies and innovations. This will be a very important pillar now, which was a kind of a demand from the stakeholders to ensure that AFAAS is not just about sharing information, but how can we be able to support programs in extension, innovations that are happening in extension, and as AFAAS, we should be able to do the scaling up and out of this. Then the last pillar is on facilitating advancement of extension. This is more about the real extension. It's a professionalization, issues of thought leadership, doing research in extension, and informing policy. So these are the three pillars that we're working with as AFAAS. And from this strategic orientation, AFAAS developed operational plan, which is now in operation for 5 years. And also we have key operational documents that are guiding the operations of AFAAS, including the results framework and other very relevant documents. So that is the AFAAS strategy. Already this was highlighted by Edie, but just for a matter of reminding ourselves again, AFAAS at a glance, what are the key things that we need to remind ourselves in 2019, of course, even earlier. 2019 was end of MDTF. MDTF, of course, was ending into 18 to 19, and a lot of things had happened, especially strengthening country fora, governance of AFAAS, the secretariat, and partnerships. All the things are now in place. Then already the extension week 219, which was very successful again, has been highlighted. And this makes us still to have this as a flagship program or project in AFAAS. Without extension week, sometimes we lose the track of each other, but when we come together, we're able to deliberate and bring other people to AFAAS. So this is a flagship program or project that we need to think so much about it. And the good news for last year was that a majority of the stakeholders funded themselves. The extension week was largely self-financed, self-sponsorship, partners coming on board. I think that this makes the extension now to have value, because where people invest money is where there is value. We're also happy to report that during the extension week, we had a general assembly and the new board was put in place, and which is very active now, supporting the secretariat strategically. And again, last year was a year of a lot of effort from the secretariat and its stakeholders on resource mobilization, as we shall be reporting later on. I think this was a milestone for AFAAS, looking at the situation of the regional institutions, mainly in Africa. It has been challenging, but we're happy that we're able to get some resource, especially from the EU, managed by IFAD. Then, of course, we want to give a lot of credit to the country fora. They've continued to engage at their own level with the national systems, supporting investment programs, supporting policy, advocacy, budget issues. So the cadre processes at the country level. So we would like to say thank you to the country fora, because even where we have not directly intervened, the country fora continue to be very instrumental in supporting the national system. And this is giving us a lot of value in terms of the extension architecture in the continent. Partnerships and collaborations have been very key, and these are the surviving mechanisms that AFAAS should really cherish, because when we don't have main funding, for example, the partnerships continue to cherish, to get us to work, and also lead us to many other international programs. So AFAAS has international, regional, and national partnerships, which are very vital in the implementation of our strategic plan, but also making a contribution to the African AU and cadre processes in a nutshell. Then, briefly talking about the current projects that we have, I already mentioned last year was the year of resource mobilization, but also the previous years saw a lot of effort in the same. So the current projects are the Zira project, which is funded by EU, and in AFAAS, and the consortium, which includes the Forum for Agricultural Research in Africa, FARA, the sub-regional research organizations, ASARECA, CADESA, CORAF. We have a big project on which is on a CADAP XP, which is normally the former Pillar 4 institutions in the CADAP process. So this is a bigger project that we have for 4 years. It already started last year. We also have the last mile project, which we abbreviate as LMP, which is ongoing and led at the GFRAS level with other continental networks like AFAAS, the one of Relacé in Latin America, APIRAS in Asia. Then also we have the smaller other regional networks. We also have, through the collaboration with the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the support to the Farmer Field School. And AFAAS is hosting the East Africa Field School, and we have a project with that for 1 year, which is strengthening AFAAS on the field school implementation. We had also a very important project on post-harvest management, which was implemented in the 2 countries, Benin and Mozambique. This project has come to an end. Unfortunately, there are no prospects of renewal. However, we've got a lot of lessons, a lot of materials, a lot of capacity developed in the region through AFAAS and in the country fora and the partners in Europe. We hope we can continue the issues of post-harvest, especially through the thematic working groups. We had a very short project with the World Meteorological Organization, which is called ACRE. ACRE is the Agriculture Climate Resilience Enhancement Initiative, which we were given to do, given opportunity to do a study in 3 countries, Uganda, Kenya, and Ethiopia. And all these studies were done by our country fora, especially focal persons with their technical groups. And I'm happy to report that the study has been done, and this will then inform how we are going to engage in climate resilience. But also, this is one of the studies, because like AFAAS, the Uganda alone had a very important project on the assessment of the indicators for extension. So Professor Margaret Mangenyi and Beatrice and others were doing a very important study on that assessment. And I know they can highlight that. They also had a very important project on the youth, which was in collaboration with the DELAC. The assessment of the indicators was in collaboration with the FAO. Then also again with the FAO, we had a study on gender issues and nutrition at country level, Malawi and Malawi and Cote d'Ivoire. And this has also ended. Emerging project is on Horizon 2020. There's a HEL, where our chairman, Dr. Germain, has been a key person in the development of the project with myself and a few others at the AFAAS Secretariat. So this project is also coming up, and we hope to start this project soon, unless the issues of this pandemic disrupt us more. But we are hopeful that things will get fine. So those are the projects that we have. But I feel that we need to highlight mainly on the key project, which is the CADAP XP4, which I've already mentioned that it's implemented in a consortium arrangement between FARA, the SROs, and AFAAS. And this project is funded by EU under the umbrella called the DESIRA. The DESIRA is more about climate resilience and climate smart in the EU perspective. So this project is for 4 years, and we have already started implementing this project, and it has 5 main components. Component 1 is about strengthening the capacities of the individual organizations to be able to successfully implement the program. So AFAAS capacity has been boosted, and this funding is helping AFAAS to have its capacity well boosted to implement it. And that is the reason ED already highlighted that we have had the engaging some of the external capacity, including Andre, Samson, Nesta, Nesta in terms of communication, Andre in terms of the knowledge management, Samson in terms of the capacity and innovation development. Then we also have Jerry Egesa, who will be dealing with the issues of monitoring and evaluation at the Secretariat. So that is, and with the current team at the Secretariat. So we have the second output, which is on the multi-stakeholder partnerships for innovation, established and operational. This output mainly focuses on is the biggest output actually in the project, and the EU is very particular that Africa should be able to partner with Europe, and also African institutions should work together. So even at the country level, when we work with the country, we expect that the country will be working with the ministry, with the private sector, and other projects that are funded either by EU or by AFAAS, because this project is managed by AFAAS, but also with any other project or program that is really on extension, but also in terms of the climate issues. So this will enhance our networking, our collaboration with a number of projects. The third output is on policies on climate relevant agriculture and food systems in Africa, also including investments, issues of advocacy, market linkages. So again, as AFAAS, we are expected to contribute much to the policy arena. This means we shall be having studies, we shall be having documented cases to inform policy development, but also how climate issues are integrated in the planning, in the budgeting, in the investments at the national level, also at the regional level. Then output 4 is on knowledge management and communication. Communication for decision support, sharing innovations, advocacy related to climate relevant agriculture in the continent. Again, this is an area which is very critical for AFAAS, and I think we have an edge in this because we've been dealing with the issues of knowledge management, and here now we have people like Andre fully on board, Nesta and others. So they'll be forming thematic working groups around the knowledge management, and also a number of tools which will support us in sharing information, documenting, creating knowledge products, and all that. Then the last output is effective planning, coordination, monitoring, and evaluation and learning, including reporting. This is like a joint activity which we shall do together with all the other consortium members. But again, at AFAAS, we shall be developing the capacities of the country fora as well in terms of all the planning, coordination, monitoring, evaluation, learning, and reporting. So this is, although more leaning to M&E, but it's again for all of us as a secretariat, but also as country fora teams that will be working in this project. In a nutshell, this project is a joint project with the SROs and FARA. Therefore, whatever we do together with as a consortium, and we're going to be delivering together, because even reporting to IFAD, much as each organization will report, we have to put things together that will be reported to IFAD and eventually EU. So there is going to be a lot of collaborations at the national level, regional level, and continental level in this project. And we hope with this project, therefore, we shall be able to leverage on a lot of resources from the countries, but also with the other partnerships. Especially now, this is the time we have to look ahead, visioning about these pandemics, emergencies. So we need to utilize these projects now to make a name for us, first of all, as AFAAS network, but also be able to do resource mobilization aggressively, both from the national level, even at the low level, that we can always engage with any projects. And
yes,
indeed,
Mr. Max.
yes,
Mr. Max, we have to go a bit faster because the agenda, we still have
yes,
2-3 others points.
we are
Yes,
having,
sorry.
I'm ending now.
Thank you.
So the other projects that I mentioned already, LMP. LMP is going to be in Kenya and Malawi. We're already working with them, and I will not highlight a lot because most of you are familiar with the LMP design with the leadership of GFRAS. So our contribution mainly will be to strengthen the capacities of the station to be responsive. So LMP and CADAP XP4 are going to be joint projects. So that means these are synergized projects. LMP will contribute to CADAP XP, XP contributes to LMP. The countries that we shall engage with for LMP is Kenya, Malawi, and Cameroon. For CADAP XP and other partnerships, initially will be Kenya, again, Uganda, Ethiopia, Malawi, Madagascar, Cameroon, Mali, Ghana, Nigeria, and Liberia. But these are not yet confirmed. We're still discussing with the donor, and also because we have to operate where they are already IFAD projects. So in the design documents, these are some of the countries, but we shall conclude them in few weeks. We shall be able to communicate to the countries officially. But for now, these are tentative countries. Again, for the field school, this was under FAO, but now hosted by AFAAS as East African Regional Hub. And we hope to generate lessons here, then take this to the continental level. So AFAAS is hosting the hub now, and within the context of this hub, we've got a letter of agreement with FAO, which is now funding a support to AFAAS be able to implement the field school approach in East Africa with some funding of about 349 US dollars. And these countries will also be synergized with LMP, CADAP XP, again, projects. So we shall also be communicating to some of you, the country fora, to be able to engage in this, and all the design documents, some of them have been shared, and those which are not yet shared, we shall share with you. Again, the last slide for me now is just to again highlight that post-harvest to us has been a very important flagship project, which has achieved a lot. This project was funded by SDC and implemented in Benin and Mozambique, but also at the regional level, AFAAS was having a big role in terms of wider dissemination of post-harvest solutions, including good practice. And we have got a lot of products that we can always scale up and out to a number of countries. I already highlighted about the ACRE projects with the World Meteorological Organization. The studies have been concluded, and in the near future, we shall be able to publish the studies and make use of them where appropriate. The methodology for integrating nutrition in extension in Malawi and Cameroon have also been, Cote d'Ivoire have also been completed, and we hope to validate this together at the regional level only when the situation has cooled down, but we can continue in talking about this online. So that is a summary. There is a lot that we could update you, our stakeholders, on, but because of the time of the Skype call,